Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 5555551, and I am back with a My 2 cent video, and we're going to be doing a My 2 cent video look for this week, where I take a look at a lot of the gaming news and give you my thoughts and my opinion about it. So why don't we get started with this week's video? And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Nintendo Switch, which apparently seems to be on track of doing very well, which is good. It's good for me. Good though, especially since I have one as well. So, according to several articles, which again, link will be in the description if you haven't seen it though, but we'll read you one of the articles from Nintendo Life magazine, has pointed out that Nintendo has posted their first quarter financial results, and the big news that's come out so far is that the Switch has sold 4.7 million consoles worldwide since its launch at the start of the new year. Close to 5 million though, but I believe it will eventually. It is also pointed out that 13.6 million pieces of Switch software has been sold globally. Of these though, let me move that down. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a port of the Mario Kart 8 that was originally released back on the Wii U, has contributed to 3.54 million sales. Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was a launch title, has managed to sell 3.92 million copies, and ARMS, the new IP, has so far sold 1.118 million copies though, and it will be interesting to see how Splatoon 2 is doing, although from what I've been hearing, it's been doing very well. In terms of, they also pointed out the recent result details for the period between April and June of 2017, which points out that 1.97 million Switches and 8.14 million Switch games were sold, though. So it seems as though that things seem to be going well, and according to what we've now learned, according to this one, it looks like it is possible that Nintendo could be reaching that 10 million mark that they were hoping to reach for the end of this calendar year. That said, it appears as though that people are still having a hard time finding the Switch, and that technically is true, though. I mean, this is a case where demand is outpacing the supply. So, obviously, has a lot of things on their hands that they have to deal with in terms of fixing that supply and demand kind of situation. But overall, I will say this is good news. It appears as though that the Switch is certainly taking off, and it certainly is clicking with consumers than I thought, and apparently though a lot of it that contributes to the clear marketing strategy with it and sending the message that this is our new console, unlike what's with the Wii U, which was a bit confusing. People were wondering, was this an add-on? What was it though? So this time around things are much clearer with the Switch than it was with the Wii U. But overall, I have to say the sales numbers are good. Hopefully it will reach that 10 million. Hopefully it will start picking up though. I'm not 100% sure it will reach 100 million like the Wii though. I know some people think it could happen, but little cautious about that right now. Let's see how well it does though, and keep in mind the Wii was out at a time when HD or Blu-ray wasn't a household name to where it is right now, where at the time it was kind of expensive and all that, and compared to where we are today, where it's a household name now. And we're starting to see the same thing with 4K. I mean, it hasn't reached it there yet, but I do believe it will eventually happen. So it's a little bit too early right now to declare that it will hit 100 million units though, but I could see it basically hitting 10 million. I think if things stay on track and they are able to hit that supply and demand very clearly though, I think it could hit 10 million units sold. So we'll have to wait and see, but overall, very good. It looks like the Switch is off to a very good start. Whether or not it can keep that momentum going or not remains to be seen, but good for Nintendo that it's hitting the right marks, though. All right, where's my notes? There's my notes. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to get to part 2 of our story, where in this case, I will be talking about the Mighty Number 9 backers, which recently got the new, got stuff that they were promised when they backed Mighty Number Nine and the whole kickback and the whole Kickstarter, and what they got and how big of a disappointment it is, though, and the whole saga with Mighty Number Nine. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for the second part, we are going to be talking about the Mighty Number 9. Yes, that game that has gotten attention for all the wrong reasons. I'm sure we're all aware about when the game came out, and the debacle of a mess and the fallout it generated from Kickstarter, though. A little disclaimer, I did back that game when it was announced back in 2014, and I did a review on the game when it came out last year. Well, apparently for those who have backed the other parts, the high tears, or if I'm saying the name correctly, who donated more money to receive, certain gifts or anything like that, well, they did get it, but not in the way people were hoping for. So, from what we have now learned is that a lot of people who are getting the package are apparently getting them not exactly perfectly. Several posts have come up on Twitter pointing out that one of the gifts they get for those who backed Mighty Number 9 is just a box and the manual. And the worst part is now the manual doesn't fit in the box. So, according to a representative from Fangamer, has responded to this by saying the English manual fits the NES style box correctly. Unfortunately, the Japanese manual were printed at the same size as the English manuals, which doesn't fit the Famicom style boxes, which is basically the Japanese version of the NES. We will be shipping a proper size replacement manual to everyone who got the Japanese box manual at no additional charge, of course. We have now also learned that apparently that the portable version of the 3DS and Vita version of Mighty Number 9 apparently is still happening, despite basically there's been multiple delays on it. And like I said earlier, there has been a lot of people who've ordered one of the backers got a manual that doesn't even fit in the box. I have to say, this whole episode with Mighty Number 9 has just been one, pardon my language for saying this, has been one shitstorm after another. I mean, it's really, really bad. I mean, and I think a lot of the blame really does go on Concept and Keiji Inafune as well. I mean, he's the one who pushed this game out and wanted to make this happen, but he's been accused of some people accuse him of being a scammer, to others believe that they wanted a true successor to Mega Man. He wanted to create a media empire, which I really think he should have focused on the game first before even going into the media empire part, though. I mean, it's really sad because a lot of people do deserve a Mega Man, do want to see a Mega Man-like game come out, and unfortunately, Concept didn't really deliver on that, though. So, on the flip side, we have Mighty Gunvolt, if I'm saying the name correctly. That I think Mighty Gunvolt Burst just came out from the Nintendo Switch that has Beck, and it really does, well, Mighty Number 9, what Mighty Number 9 couldn't do last year. So it's just, this whole episode has just been bad, and it's really put a damper on the whole crowdfunding idea, which, again, I'm not against crowdfunding in general. I think it's a good concept when done correctly, but the whole episode with this one just shows how not to do crowdfunding properly. And in a way, I kind of feel sorry for the backers, especially, like I said, a little disclaimer, I backed the game back in 2014, but I also feel sorry for those who picked one of those, the gifts, if they donated a whole lot of money just to see this happen and are disappointed with what they got. I mean, it's sad and unfortunately, and I don't blame them if they're blaming Concept for it, though. But hopefully with the purchase of Concept to level 5, though, hopefully this whole issue, the whole Mighty Number 9 debacle is put behind them, though. As far as whether this how far as what about the Switch, I mean not the Switch, I mean the 3DS or the Vita version. Well, if those do ever see the light of game, I really think they need to start from scratch on that one. They really need to really redo a lot of things on that one, because the PS4, Xbox One, the Wii U version just it just looked terrible. I mean, it just looked like, not only did it feel like an unfinished game, but it also felt like something out of the PlayStation 2 era. And to be clear, there are a lot of good-looking PlayStation 2 games, though. This, unfortunately, was not. Bottom line, glad the backers got got their gift, though, even though it may not have been the gift that they want. Hopefully, this whole episode with Mighty Number 9 is behind them, and if Mighty Number 9 ever gets another shot, hopefully a new and better development team will fix the damage. Hopefully will undo the damage that the first one did. I mean, if you look at Final Fantasy XIV, when that came out, a lot of people were not happy with it, and people really just hated that game, and Square Enix responded it by ditching that development team, got a new development team in it, redid it, and the game is certainly got a better response than the first time around it did. So who knows, maybe that will happen to Mighty Number 9, but we'll have to wait and see. Otherwise they need to otherwise I can't see how this franchise could go any further. They really need to either fix it or let it die, though. That's what I have to say. All right, we're going to take a bit of a break, and when we come back, I will give you my thoughts on the 3D platformer or a collectathon type of game that has been announced, A Hat in Time, which will be coming to the PS4 and Xbox One. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the third and final part of our My 2 Cent video for this week. And for this one, we are going to be talking about A Hat in Time. Now, this was originally a Kickstarter project a couple years back, though that was originally announced for PC. There were issues of whether it was going to come to consoles or not. At the time, I think the developers were pointing to and saying no, that it was not going to come. But recently, articles have just came out that point to the fact that the game will be coming after all. From an article on Destructoid, according again, linked in the description though, it points out that Gears for Breakfast and Humble Bundle, they've gone into publishing, are bringing the 3D platform to PC, PS4, and Xbox One this fall. And a trailer has been released. And I have to say, the game does actually look kind of interesting, though. From what the information I've heard about it, though, it's sort of like a collectathon type of a game, hankering back to the days of, like Banjo-Kazooie were, and Donkey Kong 64, although some people were not a big fan of the whole collectathon thing on that one. But it depends on how you look at it, though. I was a big fan of the original Banjo-Kazooie game, so I am definitely looking forward to this one when it comes out. Unfortunately, as it stands right now, it doesn't seem to be that a Switch version has been announced at this time, though. So for those who are hoping for the Nintendo Switch version, it's a little bit disappointing at this moment. Now, that doesn't mean that a Switch version is not going to happen in the foreseeable future, nor maybe they're waiting to announce it, though. So again, those are possibilities. I'm not saying that they're going to announce a Switch version later on. I'm just saying that is a possibility. But where it stands right now, it doesn't seem to be that a Switch version has been announced at this time, though. So while it is somewhat disappointing that there hasn't been any announcements of a Switch version, which I certainly would be open if it did, I am still looking forward to trying it out now that we know that it's coming to the PS4 later this fall, and Xbox One as well. And based on some of the gameplay footage and the recent trailer that came out, though, I'm looking forward to trying it out. I mean, I enjoy platforming games, particularly 3D platform games. Back in the day when Super Mario 64 came out, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, those kind of games, though. to even some on the PlayStation 2 era, like the Jack and Daxter series, the Ratchet and Clank, and so on. So this is definitely one that I'm keeping an eye out on my radar when it comes out this fall. I don't know if they're doing a physical copy or anything like that. It looks like it might just be available on, the digital store, or in this case, the PlayStation Store and so on. So we'll have to wait and see if a digital copy is happening or not. But overall, good that it's coming out this fall. Great that it's coming to consoles, particularly Xbox One and PS4 and PC. And like I said, I have a PC. Somewhat disappointed that a Switch announcement has not been made, or the fact that they're not doing a Switch version at all. So would have been nice to see it come to the Switch, but it's coming to the PS4, and that's okay about it. And I am looking forward to trying it out when it does come out, though, this fall. Oops, that's not the one I wanted to click on. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to take a bit of a break. When we come back, we'll get to part 4 of our story, which will be about Capcom, which may have changed some of their positions on basically on the Nintendo Switch, depending on how you want to look at it, though. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the 4th part of our video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at some comments Capcom made regarding to the Switch. Now, as some of you are probably aware of, though, only one Capcom game has been released on the Nintendo Switch so far, and that is Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challenger. Excuse me. Now, I did a review of the video, and even though technically I'm not big on fighting games, though, it was still a fun game. There was some stuff I didn't that I liked, and then there was the one big thing that I really did not enjoy, and that was the way of the Hondu. That was basically to take the Joy-Cons remote and try to do the fireball move. Pardon me if I'm doing a really crappy impression of it, though. So the game got panned by critics from that. Others pointed out that this was a port of a game released in 2008. So why would you pay, why would you pay more money for something that cost $15 when it was released back on the PS3 and Xbox 360? Nevertheless, regardless of what you feel about the game or not, apparently Capcom was happy about it. According to them, they said that the game basically performed well in the 4th quarter, which was above expectations, and the game shipped around 450,000 copies during that time. And with that, Capcom is looking, according to a comment from the Wall Street Journal, the publisher is now starting to prepare multiple Switch version titles, though. So it looks like basically the success of this title may have convinced Capcom to basically support the Switch even more, which I think it's a good thing, though. Even if Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challenger was not your type of game or anything like that. Now, granted, nothing else has been announced about, or at least as far as coming over here to the West, outside of Monster Hunter XX, which is currently slashed to come to the 3DS and the Nintendo Switch. Although I wouldn't mind having that title come over. So it seems as though people kind of jumped to the conclusion thinking that Capcom has all but abandoned the Switch. But it seems based off of their statement, it seems as though that's not the case. And they look like they're willing to support the Switch with even more titles. What kind of titles they will support, though, it remains to be seen. It could be ports of old titles, or it could be some new titles that come out, though. Personally, my opinion, if I would like to see, if this is possible, that is. I want to point out and make this very clear that whether this is if this is truly possible, and that would be, I would be open to seeing Resident Evil 7 come to the Nintendo Switch. I would love to see that game come to the Nintendo Switch, assuming it's technically possible and they could pull it off and so on. So I'm hoping that's the case, or any other titles coming to any other titles that they're working on. Maybe a whole new entry of the Breath of Fire series. Maybe bring that over as well. Maybe, or a possible Resident Evil spin-off like what Revelation was in anyway. Hell, I would be open if Resident Evil 4, if they remade Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition and brought it over to the Nintendo Switch. I would be happy about that. I mean, after all, Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite Resident Evil game of all time, and if I were to rank it as one of my favorite video games of all time, no pun intended, I would rank it at number 4. At least that's how I would view it, though. But overall, it seems as though that Capcom was very pleased with the sales numbers of Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Fallen Challenger on the Switch, and some other games as well. They certainly were happy with Resident Evil 7. Hopefully, this is a sign that we'll see more games from from Capcom, though. Hopefully, it won't. Hopefully, it'll be more than just ports. Maybe some new entries in the series, and so on. So, overall, good that Capcom is supporting the Switch, though. Good that the game Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Fallen Challenger did well. Again, I'm aware of the game's criticism. I'm aware not everybody, may not be everyone's cup of tea, but glad that it did well. Glad that they're supporting the Switch. Hopefully this means that we'll see more support from them, and hopefully this is a sign that third parties will start supporting the Switch more and more. Hopefully that will be the case. We'll see how it is next year and beyond, but overall, good that the game did well. Good that Capcom is continuing to support the Nintendo Switch. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll get to our 5th and final video, and it's my response to a comment that Ubisoft recently made regarding For Honor that just recently hit the news. Yes, that game. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with the 5th and final video for this week's My Two Cent. And for this one, I'm going to be talking about a comment recently Ubisoft made regarding For Honor, though. Now, some of you have seen some of my videos in the past where I've talked about Ubisoft sort of in a negative light, particularly using some of their actions they have made as an example, though, such as the whole Watch Dogs issue where they try to use the gameplay is more important than graphics, which would be an okay argument if you had not basically sold your game on visuals alone, to the whole Assassin's Creed Unity debacle, in which they basically shipped a broken game and used a review embargo to try to cover it up. But I will say this year has been nice to, at the same time I will say this year has been nice to Ubisoft, as they have put out some good games and have done some good things for this year, at least so far. For one thing, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon, a game that I did a review of. I'll have a link in the description to that one. I actually enjoyed, and I thought it was one of Ubisoft's better games that they have put out over the years. Their E3 presentation was actually good for once, especially with the announcement of Beyond Good and Evil 2, a game that a lot of gamers have wanted to see happen, but always felt like Ubisoft held it hostage, where we're saying, let's see how this game does before we do Beyond Good and Evil 2. And of course, the announcement of Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is a game I'm actually looking forward to trying out myself, especially since it looks like it has a bit, as far as the gameplay goes, an XCOM feel to it, though. So overall, this has been a good year for Ubisoft, but while it's been a good year for them, that doesn't mean that every decision they have made has been perfect. One of them is, of course, the whole spreadsheet of exactly what pre-order bonus you get with which a lot of people make that as a big deal. And of course, there's the game For Honor, which was released earlier this year, that has sort of earned a bad reputation, though. Some of it is the dedicated servers were not there when the game launched, although from what I've been hearing, it is certainly there now. To the outrageous microtransactions that are in the game, and of course a comment made, if I could get that, by a developer over some of the comments about basically a lot of the players that have been on here, though. Right now, according to an article off of VG247, again, link is in the description, it has reported that so far, don't worry about that, that's my phone, that's messages, whole lot messages though, has reported that For Honor has about 1,474 players on Steam as of this writing. Supposedly, that's not enough numbers for the game to be on Steam's list of 100's most played games. However, it also pointed out that back in March, 2 weeks after launch, and last month, the game has lost 95% of its players. According to a comment, Ubisoft community manager called this, by name Eric Pope, called this reporting fake news. He basically said, though, that player number on the PS4 and Xbox One, he said, he called this whole thing disappointing. He said that, where is the story? Okay. Anyway, he made the comment, though, on the most recent Warrior Den live stream, though. Now, to me, this is where I kind of have to draw the line. I do not buy the fake news argument, though, okay? This was an argument recently used in the Jimquisition, where someone was defending the whole issue of Unity, especially when there was criticism about people using Unity to put out half-assed products. Remember the whole issue with Slaughtering Ground, though? And I'm sorry, but I'm not buying the fake news argument one bit. To me, anytime someone uses the fake news argument, that just comes off as either you are doing something illegal or hiding something that you don't want people to find out, or the fact that you basically don't want to take responsibility for your stupidity. Basically describes a certain orange buffoon in the White House, if you know what I mean. Either way, I'm not buying that argument. I'm sorry, but you know what, Ubisoft? You gotta own up to this, okay? Admit that you screwed up with For Honor. You made some decisions that upsetted people, and for you to pull this whole fake news BS as your argument is basically nothing more than just basically saying, I don't want to take responsibility for my stupidity. I'm just going to blame someone else. And quite frankly, I'm not buying that argument. I'm sorry, but that is a pathetic argument. That is just as bad as you pull the whole graphics aren't important argument when you were selling your game, Watch Dogs, on visuals alone, all right? Look, Ubisoft, you had a good year so far, okay? You have did some good things that has not upset or piss off people, all right? But For Honor is definitely one of the issues that you did piss off a whole lot of people. Now, I haven't played the game, so I don't know how the gameplay is or anything like that, but I am a more of a pro-consumer kind of a person, and I do not like the fact that you're referring to this whole thing as fake news, okay? Don't get me wrong. There are times when news media and game journalism does deserve its share of criticism, but to me, the whole fake news card is really getting way out of line, and it needs to stop, okay? Bottom line, own up to your responsibility, Ubisoft, okay? Admit you made a mistake with For Honor, all right? Putting dedicated servers is a good step, but you could start by basically, in my opinion, I say end the microtransactions or anything like that. But in either case, the fake news argument has got to go. And this applies to any developer, okay? Look, I understand you have to deal with the crap that some gamers that put on you, and that's understandable, okay? Some, I will admit, take it to the extreme. But to basically declare this, like I said, declare this as fake news, no. Take responsibility for your bad decisions, all right? Anyway, this concludes my 2 cents. Oh, where is it? Right here. This concludes my 2 cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. But what are yours? What are your thoughts about the Switch sales, though? Are you happy with how the Switch is doing? Do you think that Nintendo could have done more? Do you think they're meeting the supply and demand situation? Or do you think they need to do a better job with that than they are doing right now? What about the final bonuses for the Mighty Number 9 for those who backed the project? Do you think their complaint is not justifiable? Do you think they have a good point? Do you think that Do you think the damage has been done? Did you back Mighty Number 9? Did you not back Mighty Number 9? What about A Hat in Time now coming to the PS4 and Xbox One? Are you looking forward to trying that out? Are you not looking forward to it at all? Are you disappointed that it's not coming to the Nintendo Switch at this time? Would you like for it to come to the Switch? Or do you think that you're okay with it not coming to the Switch at all? And of course, what are your thoughts about Capcom on the Switch? Are you pleased that Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challenger, did well? Are you happy that Capcom is looking at supporting the Switch with more titles? Or do you care less if Capcom supports the Switch or not? And finally, what are your thoughts about Ubisoft's recent comments about calling the whole player base For Honor fake news? Do you think they are justifiable by saying that? Or do you think that that's just, or do you agree with me that they're not owning up to their responsibilities of it? And do you think that that's a pathetic excuse? Do you agree with what I said in the video? Do you disagree? Do you have a different opinions? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and if you wish to donate to my channel, feel free to do so. I'll have a link in the description of this video. You could do it through PayPal me or through Patreon, though. And I will say this concludes this My 2 Cent gaming video for this week, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that will be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!